Now you want to disconnect your fuel line. Make sure your gas valve here is turned off. If this is fighting you, use a screwdriver, a small screwdriver, to get behind it and pry it off. Once you get your fuel line off, you want to prop your tank up. That way it gives you access to your choke. So we got to take the screw out right here. You take this screw out, loosen up your cable, and then you take out this little nut and slide your choke cable out. And as you can see, you end up taking the tank off is actually easy, because once you take off your fuel line, it just lifts the whole tank up, and you need to do that because the automatic idle on the carburetor, the wire actually goes all the way back to this retainer and then down to this connector. So you need to push the little tab right there and then unplug your connector. So now we got the choke cable undone, and we've got the throttle control plug undone. And let's see what else we gotta do. We gotta take off now the air box, and you'll see there's these two bolts right here. There's 10mm. So you take the air cleaner assembly off down here. And then that'll allow you pull your foam out and you can get to the 10mm. Right there. Behind your plate there's one right here, and then one right there. Don't forget to take your breather off. Looks like there's a little 8mm back here we gotta get out. Okay, you got another breather right here. You take that off. And right here we have a fuel line pass through that's connected to the box. So we'll see how we're going to tackle that. Alright, so you see you took off the rubber hose there. If they get stuck, you just put a screwdriver in there and get in between that and the case to get it off. And as far as the fuel line is concerned, what you want to do is take this clamp off. Don't lose it. Then this protective boot should come off. And after you get that off, you can put a little WD-40 on there. It'll help slide the line out. And you should be able to just take the box, slide the line right out of there. And now the box is out. Take note that the metal gasket goes on this side. Just note that that's where your metal gasket goes. Let's see, what else do we got left? We've got our breather line. That does not look like it's in the way. It should slide the carburetor right off. Yeah, that line is just actually sitting behind the carburetor, that's all. Yeah, and you got one more breather. Oh no, actually that's the electrical connector for the backfire solenoid. Let's follow that. Let's see where that goes. Okay. So in their infinite wisdom, they ran the wire for the backfire solenoid all the way across back behind this panel. And if you look here, there's 4 10mm bolts to hold it in. And just be careful because they have washers on them. So that will allow you to move this back. And then it's probably in here. Let's see. Because this is the wire right here. These two green ones. What did they do here? What a mess. I don't know what they were thinking here. I think it's right here. These two. There's this one and this one. So probably gonna have to cut that small. I'll have to cut this zip tie off and then re-zip tie it. So you can see it was these 2 green wires. This is such a stupid thing to do that I would almost argue in the future, if you're replacing the carburetor, you could unscrew the solenoid from your old carburetor, and if it's working and it's clean, you know, you can just undo it at the carburetor and leave it plugged in. The other option would be this wire right here down at the carburetor side. Just cut it and make a new connector for it. Okay. You got your choke cable. There you go. Carburetor's out. Now we're just basically gonna put the new one in. A little background is this generator is brand new, but when I got it, it was running rough. So I contacted Champion and they gave me a new one with new gaskets. So you want to take this gasket, yep. The old one actually looked in good shape, but if you get a new one, you just want to use the new one. Pull this line out of there. Alright, now I gotta route the wire back over across the behind the motor there to connect for the backfire solenoid. Okay, I got the wire run back through here. What I ended up doing actually was the solenoid that came with the new carburetor had these plugs on them, and actually that's not the right plug, so I just switch the solenoid over. The other thing you could have done is just cut the wires off of both solenoids and then wired them back on. You know, cut the old one off, wired onto the new one, and that would have worked too, but I just didn't feel like doing that, so took the solenoid off the carburetor, just a couple of bolts, and put it on the new one. And then you ran the cable in here, and then we're just gonna put these wires back in that little holder, and then plug, remember the throttle control comes in and plugs over here, and then we'll start buttoning up, and, you know, put the fuel line on, things like that. Okay, then we get the gasket on there, and then remember the fuel line, you know, slide it in there on the little holder on the airbox. And then you can kind of line the airbox up with the holes. I'm going to put the camera down because you got to pull the fuel line through as you're doing it. Okay, airbox is on. See the fuel lines through. Do one step at a time. I got one of the nuts started. Put the other nut on there. And then you don't want to tighten those just yet, because remember the third nut down here, you want to get that started first. If you tighten these up, it might be off center a little bit and it'll be hard to get in. So we can put that nut in, and then make sure you get this line on, that line on, and we'll tighten it up. Okay. So now you remember you want to slide the choke in here. You know, you bring it all the way up to the nub. Slide the cable in here. The way you can adjust it is you just pull the choke out. Whoops, not that far. Let's see. Let's get the choke back in here. So you basically want to pull the choke out, bring this all the way over, like that, when the choke is out, and then tighten the screw to hold the cable in. So let's try that again without taking it out. There's 3 little notches there. And then we'll slide this choke over, hold it with one hand and tighten it. Alright, the choke is in. Let's run this control for the idle. You see how it's got the little hole right there? That goes over the locking tab. You should hear it go in here and click. As soon as I can get it to play nice. There we go, that's in. And then these, you know, it was over here in the wire wrap. Keeps it out of the way of stuff. Just make sure it's not in the way of the gas tank. And then let's see the fuel line. We'll put that on, we'll drop the tank. It looks to me like you can button up the filter. So the way this little plate goes in, as you can see, there's two holes, but then right down here in the corner there's a little dimple, so that's how you know that's where it sits. And then the filter goes in, let's see here. Looks like it might be going like this, or like this. Okay, I'll figure out the filter. Okay, with the filter, you can see there's a little like indent. That's how you know that faces out. And the little cutout goes right there. As you can see, there's a cutout right there, so that's where that goes. And then you just hook the cover on the top. See how it's got the two tabs right there? And then down the bottom it screws in. And a little adjuster here. That's it for the air cleaner. And for the fuel line, we don't want to forget to put on the little protector hose and slide that on there. Put some WD-40 on it, slide it all the way down, and then put your clamp on, slide it down a little way so you have room to put it up on the gas tank. Alright, so I got the fuel line on, right, but what I ended up doing actually is I cut a little bit of it off. Coming from this angle here, this bend was really bad. I cut that much off. So there you get the clamp. Then you just gotta put in your 10 millimeters for your gas tank, put on the breather tube, and that's a wrap.